All right. What's up?
What is up? Still setting up. Give me a second. Only a stream for a little bit, not too long.
All right. I'm gonna go get some my coffee. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Hello. What's up, spaceship man? I'm probably just gonna paint. Just gonna paint and hang out. What's up, Anton on Twitch? Safe? Poopy? What is poopy? What do you mean safe, poopy? Alright. Let me go ahead and share my image.
All right.
There you go.
We live? Doing things?
It should be.
All right. See you on
Turn some
Facebook.
light. Gotta put on these glasses. These glasses actually are not like prescription glasses. They're I got these glasses because I'm in front of the monitor a lot, in front of screens.
Are those the whatever they filtered the blue light? Whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Also, are you standing?
Always standing.
Dude, I can't stand at my desk for very long. I don't know why.
You can't stand
Why, no,
standing.
Can't stand standing.
You know
So
why?
you always stand when you work, or do you have to pull up a chair at all?
I don't have a chair.
Wow.
Yeah, I just take breaks.
How long of a stretch can you stand at the desk?
Oh, poople. Pop.
Like an hour?
Popple. Popple. That's how you say it. Well, it looks like poopy. From just looking at it. Red footy, yellow footy evening. What's up, guys? Ridley. Ah, yes. Standing in a yoga pose. I'm sorry, say that again. What did you say?
Oh, I just asked. Like you said, you take breaks. So, how long of a stretch can you go standing before you feel like you have to sit down?
Like 2 or 3 hours.
Oh wow. I can go for like 40 minutes, maybe.
Just gotta do it more often, that's all.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with,
Do you feel like it helps?
yeah. I feel like I've done something instead of just like sitting down all day.
Lounging. Yeah.
Yo, did you know my name actually means drawing solutions? I do now. I just want to start off this stream actually, now that we get started, for anyone who's hanging out. Last stream was pretty good. We had a good group of people hanging out. We were all chatting, right? And then we had our friend Olivia, and there was a talk about like, you know, sexism in the industry, and we were just discussing it. We didn't even get too into it, and I even told her like we can talk more about it in a different stream, because I don't know much about a lot of the stuff that might be true and what I don't know I would like to know. And it's funny because at the very end, I guess there was some person who like basically pointed out her point, and he just started kind of like just calling her out, and in a very aggressive way. And I think it's important that if you may disagree with somebody that you hear that's like a guest hanging out with us, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. But if you come at people a little like aggressive, I'm just gonna tell you right now that's not tolerable, right?
Yeah, we don't accept that.
Yeah. Again, if you may disagree with someone's position, that's different, right? But if you're like openly trying to mock somebody, then yeah, it's not acceptable. In fact,
Just be careful. Be careful with your words.
yeah. In fact, I'll challenge you if you think that you are so you have such a strong position to come onto our Discord. It's open, and elaborate your position. I would love to hear you explain yourself versus typing behind an anonymous name. So
Oh, show.
just letting you guys know.
Wait, that happened last night?
Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you weren't part of our stream chat. Like at the very end, someone
No,
was
I was
like,
here. I was here last night, but I didn't hear the
"No, at
argument.
the very
Yeah, we
very
talked about
end,
it after.
we have a
Yeah.
stream chat, like a private messenger." And at the very end, because you could see on the restream, I can see all this chat, so it was all documented on my restream. And as I was closing, I read the last comment, and someone said along the lines of, "Why is she crying about these problems?" Something along those lines. I forget exactly, but it was clearly not a constructive criticism, right?
Right.
And then I shared it with her, and I was like, "Yeah, that's stupid." It was like he inadvertently proved your point, you know. And so I just want people to know that there's nothing wrong with. Like, there's like for example, there was another person who commented today who said, you know, they disagreed with me on some points, but they really would love to talk more about it. And it was very like professional and very. And I wrote back and I was like, yeah, of course. You know, I don't feel like I have all the answers. Paraphrasing what I said, I didn't really say that specifically. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with disagreeing with other people, right? Because me and Olivia do disagree on things, right? But we're still maintain a good friendship, you know? And I don't see you're in a negative light at all. But it doesn't mean give someone liberty to just start trashing people. And I think I see that too much. And that was kind of the topic of the front of our conversation last time, remember? We were just talking about how people misread texts. Here, I'm going to start painting something now. I've just been messing around. Well, let me get a brush that I think will be good. Yeah, this will be good. Just a good old standard round brush.
By the way, can I field some questions from Facebook?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So Facebook peeps, if you want, you can ask some questions, and I'll try to interject and bring those up.
Yeah,
So-
in fact,
so,
I do a pretty bad job of looking. We talk too much. So I'm going to do like a timer thing. So like every 5 minutes, I'll just be sure to actually just stop talking and reading.
Don't worry about it, dude. I don't think it's all that serious.
No, it's not, but I prefer
All right.
to just do this because I think it's important. But I just wanted to kind of move to that and just say, yeah, take it easy, y'all. In fact, I'll take this moment to actually look at what people are saying now, and then we're gonna paint. I'm gonna paint some character designs that I want to start kind of front loading on a game idea that I have, and I'm gonna see if I can make it. Standing in a yoga pose, yeah. Really wanting a standing desk. Yeah, standing desks are great. Like right now, I'm like able to walk away and move, and it feels good. It feels good to be on your feet. I think at first it doesn't, right? Like you feel like a lot of stress, but as time goes on, you feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I always wondered that.
I had to get a mat because I was messing my knees up standing all day. Yeah, that's kind of the point, Johnny. Is that like it shouldn't be messing up your knees. Like humans are actually biologically built to be standing and walking often, and what ends up happening is that when you sit down a lot, your body starts to kind of slowly adjust in this bad form, and what ends up happening overall is that you just start feeling uncomfortable all the time, or you feel lethargic more often, and then whenever you do anything that requires any sense of activity, you kind of feel more broken, generally speaking. That's why if you exercise, it helps a lot. If you eat right, it helps a lot. But if you don't exercise a lot, and if you don't eat a lot, eat good foods a lot, then standing will help. But if you do all that, like eat right, exercise, and have a standing desk, then you're like really kind of catering to what your body actually would like for you to do. So, but yeah, I think it's smart to start with like a mat or whatever. If you feel like at first it's kind of like screwing you up, yeah, I think that's smart too. Like I'm not trying to say that your bad knees aren't real. I'm just saying that's probably a product of sitting for long periods of time in the first place. So it's good to start to transition, and then getting rid of the mat is a good idea. Eventually, I wouldn't say right away.
Also, I think something you should keep in mind is if you're going to buy a mat, be careful and try not to buy ones that are advertised for standing desks because they're just so markup. What you should do is go buy one that's like a bath mat. You can find some really good and affordable bath mats that are like the kind of memory foam and feel good. I bought one for like $20, but if you look for like standing desk mat or something like along those lines, if that's your search term, you'll end up finding stuff for like 50 to 80 bucks or more, you know, because they're trying to mark it up as like this. It's special, but it's not. It's just a mat, dude. Just
It's like
get a
the
math mat.
it's like the hipster tax.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're a hipster, they're gonna tax you more. They
Yeah,
just
because
know.
I have I bought one of those adjustable desks a couple years ago, so like I can take it from sitting to standing with buttons. And it's super nice, but
Yeah.
I bought
getcha.
it thinking that I'd stand, and then I didn't because it was just so uncomfortable, and I was like, who the hell? Why stand? I don't understand. I don't
Uh,
understand.
I just got like a really simple setup. I wonder if I can actually show you guys. I need to see what I'm showing you though, so I'm gonna have to pop up my
Well, yeah,
camera
in my
for a
case, I
second.
clearly overcompensated.
So let me see if I don't think I can actually. It's all. Oh no, here we go. It's
Do you
not
stand,
that
Caleb?
entangled.
Yeah, I'm standing right now. So I have
So-
a
It's not that
I use-
complicated of a setup that I got. It's just really
I actually use
simple.
what AJ did because he told me about like the cinder block thing, you know.
Oh yeah, I
So
used to have a.
I got the cinder blocks that were like $5, and I just put it underneath my desk. And then sometimes, like if I'm concentrating and I don't want to think about standing, like while I'm doing stuff, I do have like a high chair that I'll sit on. So I kind of go between both a little bit. So sometimes I just don't feel like standing, and then sometimes like I'm just like, you know what, I feel like I should stand. So I kind of go through both. So that's kind of like my go-to. I kind of have the option to sit if I need to. But I also have like the better back thing. I don't know if you guys ever seen that before on Kickstarter.
What's that?
It's like
I can
it's
Google
kind
it.
of like this thing that you put around your knees. It goes around your lower back and around your knees. So if I am sitting, it kind of helps with my posture. But I don't use it unless I'm sitting for long periods of time. So I kind of just I'm kind of like flexible. Like there's I don't want to do too much standing and too much sitting. So, but usually if I do get like kind of like weird, my back or feeling weird, I'll just go outside and take a walk with my dog. So.
Yeah, I normally just get up and step outside.
Yeah, like I have like an eye watch now, and it's kind of weird because like it will be like, "Hey, breathe," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am kind of breathing weird." And it's like, "Hey, get up and take a walk," and I'm like, "All right, I guess so." And then I just
Yo,
do it.
breathe, breathe.
Yeah, it's like breathe, but like really sit there and breathe and think about that shit. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess I am."
thinking
Kinda
about
like,
it.
yeah, I think sometimes when I'm like really concentrating, like I'm not like my breathing is off. Like I'm just like sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I probably should be like really like breathing better." So that stuff can kind of help.
You go and, like you slip into a small coma.
Yeah, I just pass out from working too hard. They're like, what?
It is funny the little quirks that we have when we start getting in the zone. I noticed one of the things I do is I'll catch myself pushing my jaw out. You know, like where you have what do they call it, underbite?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I'll when I get in the zone, I'll like have my bottom jaw just kind of pushed out just a little bit, to where if I was to close my mouth. Yeah, I don't know why, man. I don't know why.
Like Jordan, like you have your tongue out and shit.
Another thing, when I was skateboarding, growing up, I always caught myself. I would like pucker my lips in. You know, like when those pictures when someone eats something sour. No, in like
Oh,
you kind of bite on your I don't know how to explain it. You know, like how
take a
if you
picture.
eat something sour. I'm not gonna take a picture of it.
Take a picture. Take a picture.
I think it was like a brace for impact kind of.
Oh,
thing.
okay.
You know what I mean? Because if I was about to
Good.
jump down some stairs, I would like put my lips in.
I'm gonna take a second to talk to some people.
Yeah.
So some people are just saying, "Be cool." Do we have a Discord channel? I do, and I think Mike will be able to provide that via
think I'm an admin
Twitch.
on YouTube.
Are you
or
an admin
Twitch.
on Twitch? Or I know on Twitch.
I
you're
know I'm
about-
on Twitch.
I don't know about YouTube. I have to
Yeah,
look into
I don't
that.
know
I'll
about
figure that out.
I'll
Maybe
do it on Twitch right now.
We'll sort that out later
Twitch and
today, or maybe
Facebook
not
will get
tomorrow.
links.
But definitely Facebook, you can do it. Yeah. Most people are pretty civil in here, so that's great. And then, hola, can't post links here. Just Google desk stand. Okay, someone was trying to help out with the standing desk. What's up, Shelton? Good for
Ooh,
dancing
Shelton.
while you work. Yep, I like to dance while I work. AJ, do you have a traditional painting background? Oils, acrylics? I did a little bit of acrylics, but nothing like that would say that I have a background in it. I just did it in school. Same with kitchen mats. Chefs use them all the time. I exercise every day, but today at the gym I hit myself on the head. What the? Now it's starting to hurt. What should I do? What? Go to the hospital. If it's real serious, yeah, don't ask me. I'm not a medical professional.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Hey, Joe, what do you think about this? I ran into a metal knife, and it stabbed me through my fleshy skin.
Yeah, it's not the femoral artery. I'm bleeding out. What do you think I should do? Like, yeah, just give it some time. Just give it a year.
You even named something I don't even know the medical term for. You were very specific. You seem more knowledgeable. You should know not to ask an artist randomly. Yeah, like
it's the RPG friend list. Did I ever tell you about that?
No, what's that?
So like I was talking to JP about this, and I was like, you need like a RPG, like like your party when you have RPG. You need like your RPG for like real life. And so I was talking to JP about it, and I was like, what would your RPG like real life friends be? And I was like, I feel like you need a good lawyer, a good like doctor friend, a good mechanic friend, a good like carpenter, and then I think it was like broker for like houses. And those are like my top things that I feel like I need.
Wait,
So
what
I
do you
feel
mean
like I have
RPG
a good-
friend? Like you mean like your party?
Like your
Like-
party.
Oh,
So
I
like
see.
people that you can go to for advice. So like I have a doctor friend that I went to school with, so I always ask him about doctor stuff. My
Got
aunt's
it.
a broker, so whenever I need stuff about property, I talk to her. I don't have a tax friend. I don't have like a mechanic friend.
I see.
Those are the two that I need. And then I obviously have art friends. But I feel like you got to build up your friends so that way, like if things go down, you have someone you can always talk to. And I have a tax guy friend. So
Yeah.
and I need a lawyer friend. So that's like my current RPG like background and things that I need in life. Or RPG party.
Got it. I see what you're saying now. I wasn't understanding at first. Is it just me, but I kind of waiting for the alarm? Oh yeah, I need to set it back again. Yeah, take
I
a
got
pic.
a Facebook question.
Can I get an invite? Oh yeah, so he already sent the invite. Thanks. How important is it to build a brand as an artist? And then I'll let you go, Mike, after this question.
Yeah.
And how early on should you begin to develop a brand for your art? Great priest so far. Keep it up. Thank you. So I have this idea for this video game, and I want to start designing all the characters. I want to try to do them all in 3D. Probably going to work on this a longer span. I had another game that I was working on, but if Shelton's still here, he gave me some really good feedback about like pushing my art. And although I liked the style of the game that I was working on, I feel like he was right. So, but and I'm not talking about the I Can Jump game. That game's different. That game I do like. That kind of genre game, I love that kind of genre. But it's a different type of game that I want to make, which I think is going to just take more time to build. And I'm just going to take my time with it. So I'm going to start concepting and then try to build. And this brings me to the answer to your question is I try to build some recognition to brands of whether it's my art or my projects as soon as I can, once I feel like I have some substance. What in the world? Who's crumpling up?
I'm sorry.
Who is that?
Hi. It's me. It's Olivia again.
Oh,
Like a
I
see,
forest.
you came in here.
Mute my mic so I can crumple.
You just unmuted
Shit.
it right when you
It's
started
like
crumpling.
right by her
I
mind.
had
just
to-
crumbling.
I had to
Oh
hear
my gosh! No, Kaylin used to
Okay.
do that too, and I used
Little
to
crumple.
give him shit for it. But anyway, sorry. So getting back to the question, like I try to do like a brand of whatever I'm doing as soon as I can, and I think people should do that too. Even if you don't feel like your work is good, it's just good to get in the habit of like sharing your work, putting it out there, getting some feedback, versus just not. Right? Like you want people to start to kind of really, like get in a good or giving you some good insight on what's going on. Like right now, like for instance, Kaylin's company, they're going through a beta, so they're getting a lot of good insight that's really helping them. Like we were just playing the game today, and I already had some feedback that Kaylin was very receptive to. He's like, yeah, that's a good point. Like you should just reach out to the feedback section, and at the same time, like even if like there's a lot of mixed reviews, they can just look at this. They can take this as valuable information that they wouldn't have got if they didn't release it. Because the last thing you want is kind of like a No Man's Sky situation right? Where you market and market and market and market, and people then start to just assume that it has to be this amazing thing. And when all is said and done, and it comes out and it's not like half of what people thought it was going to be, that they're gonna burn you down, which happened. But luckily, I think the No Man's Sky folk are starting to kind of like work on actually making the game that people were hoping. And there's a lot of good reviews coming back, and it looks like it's making a comeback, so which is good.
Yeah.
But
I actually passed that information on, AJ. So
okay, great. Yeah, like I said, I actually was gonna do an extensive thing. I was gonna go and like frame by frame. I was gonna really investigate. You know?
No, I mean you can if you want. Like we take everything pretty seriously. So anything that's a sensitive thing, like we definitely like we gather. Usually we wait like a few days and then we gather it all. And like so we're like, I know our guys are like pretty very metrics heavy. So if someone says something and then we hear it again, then we definitely like start having a discussion about
that's really good.
What's happening, like why is it happening, and what are our solutions and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's always helpful.
And to relate it back to art, like the idea would be the same. Like if you live in this artistic like bubble where you don't really get people's feedback often, you might think that your artwork is dope, but then when you put it out there, you get very few likes or you get very few views, or you know, people are very critical of it in a way that you didn't expect. You know, that's dangerous because it might create this sensibility within your own, like, you know, ego that you might not even realize is happening. It's really good to have people tell you like whether they like something or not.
Big fish, small ponds.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think it's really valuable for everyone to understand. So anyway, but yeah, cool. Like, who's in this stream chat with me right now? I know Mike is. Olivia just joined, and then I thought I heard Wen. Is Wen in here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I don't know about this. We have too much diversity. I don't know about this.
I might start crying at any moment.
Oh yeah, I commented on that in the very beginning. I'm not sure if you were here. Did you hear
No,
it?
it's fine.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't here.
Oh yeah. So I basically told people that it's okay to like disagree with the people that are hanging out with me, right? But to be rude and like you know, start like saying like obviously stupid stuff is unacceptable, right?
Stop sharing your opinion.
Yeah, like well, I wouldn't go that far. I would say don't share your opinion if it's not constructive in any sense of the word.
I was just being sarcastic.
Yeah. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's important to like. I think it's important if people have like some argument that they would like to bring up. Sure, let's talk about it. But if they're just straight up like like for you and using you as an example, like the guy who's saying like you're like she should just stop crying about it and stop being a victim. That's exactly the kind of thing that you were literally talking about happens.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it kind of
oh
proved my
God.
point.
Yeah.
It was kind of sad, like that it pretty much literally was just the thing I was talking about.
Yeah. So
But,
whoever that guy might be, you whatever cause you thought you were fighting for, you you demonstrated no tolerance of any kind. So. But oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't say anything. I was just commenting on what you were saying. Yep, I was just making noise. But yeah.
Throwing in ad libs.
All right, Mike, you had a question, and then we can talk about stuff.
It's a question you get all the time. Let me see. What brush or setting are you using to make smooth render?
The brush setting that I'm using is called Skill. Oh snaps! Snarky, snarky.
Oh, we got a new question, a real question.
Oh no, that's a real question. Let me answer that real fast.
All right, go ahead.
I was trolling just because I can. But to give that person some real insight, there's nothing unique about any of the brush settings that I've used. You might actually have the same kind of brush setting. It's just regular transfer. But what you're witnessing is just like I have a lot of practice, and so I just have really a lot of control over how softly or how hard I can push down. That will give me variation within the actual brush. So it looks like I can like smooth things out. And then I do use one tool, which is the smudge tool, that actually does smooth things out. And for that, I'll show you guys the settings. So this is all recorded, but I know it's probably low quality. So the first thing you'll need is you just need a regular airbrush at 25% spacing, and then you need scatter on at 30%, and then everything else should be default. And then on transfer you need pen pressure and leave it at 0 for both of those settings. And then on the top you'll see that it says strength, and mine is at 25%, and that's for the smudge tool that will be found on the toolbar. It looks like a little finger. You guys might have a little teardrop as your starting icon. Just click on that and then you'll see the smudge tool, just like the finger. It's funny that that's how they determined smudge, is just a finger. But that's how you answer that question. So
AKA skills.
AKA skills, yeah. So what was the other question?
The other question is, hey dude, can you talk about your opinion on or experiences with psychedelics or psychotropics?
Like drugs?
Yeah, that's what I think they're asking.
I haven't had any experience with that, so I can't really comment on it. I only have stories of friends who have, but I don't. What about you guys?
They also asked opinion.
I've had
my
drugs.
opinion? Like what's
opinion or experiences?
Like what's my opinion on drugs?
I guess.
Yeah, I have a pretty lax opinion about it. Like, I think people are welcome to do the kinds of drugs that they like. I think that legalizing a lot of the drugs is a good idea. And then
I like drugs.
Yeah, me too.
And then I think a
Better living
lot
through
of
chemicals.
I think a lot of like education around said drugs is really valuable as well. So that way people know what they're getting into. And so
go ahead.
But I know like there's some side effects to certain drugs. There are some drugs. Not all drugs are created equal. I get that. And the ones that demonstrate constant and consistent results that are very like negative, then obviously we either need to one, regulate them in such a way that they stop being so effed up, right? But at the same time, maybe find ways to just not have them at all. For instance, like how we handle cigarettes is a great demonstration. It's not illegal, but it's clearly really terrible for you. And they have lots of warnings. They bring up the cost. So there's no like black market cigarette thing because it is legal to acquire them, although they're incredibly poisonous.
It wasn't.
Same thing happened with alcohol, right? They made alcohol illegal for like a day, and then it got real bad. I believe like the Kennedys, right? They had like a black market like alcohol ring going on, and that's how they acquired their wealth. And then one of them became a president. But I'm not necessarily saying anything negative or positive about this. I'm just stating facts, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the point. Like if you criminalize a lot of these things, especially some drugs that are obviously should not be criminalized, like I think marijuana is one of them, right? It might have some adverse effects at like younger ages. There's some evidence for that. But I mean, so does alcohol. Right, and alcohol is actually much worse, and so to make the case that it's like this really crazy drug is just not warranted. There's not enough evidence to prove that. But to say that it's also like on the flip side, to say that it's completely safe and one of the best drugs ever is also not warranted. But it is leaning more to the safer side than it is to the dangerous side, if that makes sense. And that's the part that kind of frustrates me. People aren't being intellectually honest, and that's what makes people freaking bark at each other instead of like listening and finding a way to find a even medium. So that's how I feel about it. I'm not two ways around it. Like I occasionally smoke marijuana. I think it's great, but it's not like a psychedelic, right? And then I drink occasionally too, and I never smoke. Because I was part of that, the Dare generation, right?
Oh no, I still have my Dare T-shirt from the 1990s.
And that worked. It worked on me. I was like, oh shit, I want my teeth.
Oh wow. I think similar with psychedelics, at least with like stuff like psilocybin and few others. Like, there's a lot of misinformation about it. It's like, oh, it'll give you brain hemorrhages and you'll like never wake up from a coma.
Yeah,
And
sure.
a lot of that is simply not true. As somebody who has had a little bit of experience with that, it's like, I think it kind of depends with marijuana too. It like kind of depends on who's taking it, because like there's such variable experiences that it's really hard to like pin down what's going to happen. So more studies needed, basically.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
that was kind of my point too, right? Like education needs to be, like, for instance, there is some from what I saw, some legitimate scientific research that demonstrates that younger kids who smoke weed at a very high rate, it messes up with them in their development.
Short-term memory and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well then that's a problem. Okay, and we should talk about it. But I think when you're an adult, especially like after the age of 26, there is almost no ill effect. At least there's no research proving that. In fact, the opposite is true. Like, they show that it helps with people with certain diseases and illnesses, and that's important to hear and to do something about.
Yeah,
it's frustrating that our kind of like puritanical culture in the U.S. kind of prevents us from taking a more objective, like, scientific stance on a lot of these things, because like you said, they can be used to help people. Like, my own experience with like psilocybin is that it helped me like understand chronic depression, and there's actually legitimate research to back up that you can use psychedelics in that way, but we just don't know enough about it to really isolate what's happening and, you know, do the science things.
do the science things. What about you guys? Have you guys have any experience? I know Mike, he started flirting with the idea that he did.
Huh? Yeah. That's what I was gonna add is throughout college, almost all of college, I was smoking weed with all my friends there, and you know, I would have panic attacks here and there, which at the time I didn't fully understand what they were. And because I've had health problems since I was growing up, with like my kidney and stuff, it was easy for me to, you know, misinterpret what was happening and made it worse. So then I put it down, and I haven't smoked marijuana or anything in like over a year.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, and I'm just like, at this point, I'm over it. Oh, and I never drank. I drank maybe 3 times in my life, but I have kidney failure, so I probably shouldn't.
Yeah,
You know?
you probably should not.
Yeah, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, I have nothing against it. My mom smokes weed almost every day.
It sounds like it was in a song. Is that in a song?
Is
Smoke
it?
weed every day?
Yeah.
That thing that's Snoop Dogg.
Smoke weed every day.
Oh yeah.
At the end of what's that song? I'm like trying to remember. Damn
I
it.
don't know.
But yeah.
The song Snake Dog.
What is it called? Okay, what?
Snake Dog?
It's the da da da.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like
I
at
was
the
gonna
end.
clean my room, but then I got high. So yeah, but my mom has a disability, so it helps her with her pain. She has like nerve damages or damage or whatever. So like, if you, a good example of how severe it can be is like if she's sitting on the couch and then I go sit on the couch, and we could be like on the opposite sides. If I sit on the couch too roughly, the couch will like shake just a tiny bit. You know what I mean? Like the seats, and that'll hurt.
Nerve pain is the worst. It's so bad.
So she takes a lot of medication to help all that.
Yeah.
She'll smoke
My
here and there.
partner had sciatica, I think that's how you pronounce it, for like a year before he got surgery for it, and like just like shooting pain like up your leg, just from the nerve being like in the wrong place, rubbing against something. It sucks. It's not fun.
So yeah, with my opinion, I think it's totally fine. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Same boat. My
Anyone
partner
else?
wakes and bakes and then goes and works in an anthill corporation every day, and I don't know how he does it.
Right on. Right on. What about you, Kellen? Do you have any opinion on this, or when?
On drugs? I mean, I kind of come from it. Like, I don't do that stuff personally, but I kind of come from like a science background because of Jacqueline, and that's what she does. So,
Oh, that's right.
you know, for her, whenever we kind of talk about this stuff, she's very much on the opinion of just scientific facts, that if it's proven, then it's all good. But where things kind of get weird is when yes, things can be proven that they're good, but then making it like legalized, there's just so many hoops you have to kind of go through for safety reasons to make something like legalized. And then in order to like do research on those kind of things, you require money. And so when you require money, it requires money from investors. So then that's where things that can be kind of conflict of interest. But I think a lot of it's just time. Like you need a lot of time to understand the effects that something can have on you. So like, for example, cigarettes, we didn't know cigarettes were bad until people had smoked for like 15 plus years. And then we're like, oh snap, like this is what happens to your lungs when you do it for that long. The same thing with vaping. Like I have people that like love to vape, and I'm kind of like, and Jacqueline's like, anytime you put like a chemical into your body, it's not good. And they're like, yeah, but there's no side effects. And she's like, yeah, because you've only been doing it for a year.
Yeah.
It's like, what happens when it's 15 years from now and people have been vaping since they're like, 12, and all of a sudden they develop stuff. He's like, we don't have enough to see. It's too fresh. Like we don't have enough time to figure out what are going to be the effects. She's like, so for me, I'd rather just not take the risk until we know like what prolonged, use of a drug can be. So I can see both sides of where people kind of go, oh, it's the government, but at the same time, like there's a lot of safety reasons. Like anytime someone can die, like that's on them, and you don't. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's part of the reason I kind of scaled back my usage of marijuana a little bit, is because like I have chronic depression, and I don't really know how it affects that. There's some stuff like that kind of runs in my family, and I just don't really think we have enough research. Like I'll do it occasionally if I'm in the mood, but well, he was saying earlier, panic attacks.
So
yeah, science is a long churning process.
Yeah,
that's the part that kind of sucks, is that almost all science in general is always funded by someone, right? It's always like government funded. So once the government feels like it's not necessary, then they can't do that research, because research takes like millions of dollars. And it takes like years just to get a drug approved. And a lot of people kind of like, think like, oh, it's like these pharmaceutical companies, they do this, they do that. It's like, no, it's a lot of it is just a lot of just red tape. Like
jumping through hoops.
Is getting a project approved right now that they want to work on this disease, but in order to do that, there's so many things they have to do before it can get tested, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
It's just like, like we have to do this stuff because like we have to check. There's kind of like checks and balances. It has to be peer reviewed. Has to be kind of by like the world. Like all these other scientists, organizations have to look at it. They have to agree. Like, okay, we can do this. And so it's like it's actually like a really good system, but with that, it just takes a lot of time, and that's the unfortunate part.
Anything
there are people that are suffering from it, and they have to kind of wait until these things can get approved.
No, you're wrong.
Yes, whatever, dude. See me in the arena.
I remember I was getting in a debate with Rob about this once, and it ended well. I just ended up killing him. He was just wrong.
Socked him in the face.
Yeah.
What? He didn't agree with like vaccine or something like that, or what?
No. I have a very strong position that most things should be legal, because you're making the point that is really legitimate of like safety regulations and all that stuff. And the reality is that, but if it's illegal, there is none of that, not even a little bit. And so that
black markets and stuff.
And so that way,
I think legalization then opens up the conversation for
there's more of an opportunity.
To have checks and balances in place to make sure that they're checking, they're paying taxes on it, you're making sure it's the right. Like even Jacqueline was talking about, she thinks it's a great idea to legalize that kind of stuff, just because
there's an opportunity.
You don't know what
you're all
selling.
wrong.
And like how they're pushing it, like how they're making their weed, like you don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they don't need to tell you, right? They just sell it. They can make it stronger just to sell more and make you more.
We had a really
and
major
before you continue, sorry, Olivia.
you'll
You'll have the last word on this, and then we're gonna move on. I have a timer, so that way we can try to move to a different topic. So you'll have the last word. Go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, speaking of that, we had a major distributor here that they like did testing here in Washington on the weed after it got legalized here, and found out it was like loaded with pesticides, and like some of them were kind of dangerous. So that's kind of one of the downsides of it being on the black market for so long, is that when there's a black market, like all the research we have is coming from black market sources. So like, it just kind of leaves room for lack of oversight. And that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah. Word. Who else just joined? Who's just said that we're all wrong? They're wrong. You're wrong.
Oh, that was me. That was me, I think.
No. Get out of here. We got too much diversity. I don't like it.
All right, I'm out.
Yeah, thank you. It's really dark in here now. Why did it get super dark?
Oh, oh no. Oh no.
Anyways,
I'm afraid of the dark.
let's move on. The Guten tag? What does that mean? I think pretty much anything can become dangerous when abused. Absolutely. The DEA is making too much money to legalize weed. Yeah, that too. Blaze. I won a Dare art contest in middle school. Nice. Just
Wow.
realized the chat wasn't working for me. Oh no. Hopefully you fix that. Oh, that's my wife. Let me mute this for a second. I might have to take a momentary step away. You guys can continue the conversation for 1 second. Wait, what the? Alright, here we go.
Was it about the weed stuff still?
Oh, you guys talk about whatever. Read the questions. Answer questions.
Yeah, you can ask. You can read another question, Mike. So
All right. Let me see here.
Yeah. Talk about the weed stream. You're gonna get rated.
I'm trying to see if there's a question that's not directed directly at Anthony. Something that we could do.
There's a question that I can answer. Then
Yeah, everything's related to like his painting. One person asked, "How you guys doing?"
Doing all right.
Busy. About to play Michael later.
Oh yeah, catch these hands.
Catch some hands.
I'm so trash. By the way, all of you guys that are listening, if you like Smash Bros, but you don't have a Nintendo console, all right,
No,
go
and
get yourself onto Steam, search into the store, pick up Icon's Combat Arena.
All right, I'm back.
It's so good.
My
It's
wife,
fantastic.
my wife is gonna call me again and tell me to throw the kids out the window. So I might take another.
So that's hands.
I might take another step back. Oh my gosh, I have too many windows open. Okay. Yeah, but I'm not gonna stream for too long. This is gonna hang out for a bit. I might stream again later tonight. Oh no, that's right. That's why the reason I'm not streaming tonight is because I'm doing like a game night with some of my friends. So that's right. Oh, my wife is already out.
Nope, no invite.
All right, I'll be right back.
He said no. Yeah, dude. I'll catch you in there, man. I'm gonna catch you in there. And yeah, we should also give some feedback too.
Yeah, the only straight off thing, like when you do over B, I wish I could grab the ledge. I don't know if that's just like in Smash because I haven't played Smash in a long time.
Oh
Right on.
man, I used to play that so much.
I mean, we do everything. So I mean, especially people that like are casual pro. So you need to kind of understand like every. It's weird for me because I come from like a Street Fighter background, so like it's all
Yeah.
new. So there's some things and I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like, he's like, yeah, it's just how it is. I'm like, okay, let's get used to it.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
What about for me?
Used to.
yeah. I think some things maybe break away because I definitely think the only thing that I find frustrating when playing is like when I'm off the stage and I could just barely get back, and instead of doing an up B, maybe I'm saying the things wrong. I think it's up X really
Yeah.
on an Xbox controller, but up X is like your up attack or whatever, which gets you some distance so I can get back on the stage. What I'd like to do is on some characters you can do the over towards the stage, and it does a different move. And what my character will do is I'll like punch the air towards it and I'll hit the ledge and I won't grab it. And that frustrates me because I'm like, just grab the ledge. Like
Yeah.
I shouldn't die right there.
I think you can only do it one time. I think that's the reason why. If you do it 2 times, then like you'll fall off. But also, there's wall jumping too. So
Wall jumping.
Wall jumping, you can jump off the wall, and it gives you an extra space. It gives you extra space to like reuse one of your moves to get back on the stage. So there's like a lot of cool tech. I think like if you watch someone play, like some of like the really good people play on stream, you'll start seeing stuff, and you'll be like,
Oh yeah,
that.
All right,
And
I'm definitely gonna look into it because
For now,
I
we'll
just
see though.
downloaded it, tried it out. It's a lot of fun.
yeah.
All right. The stuff in the vape, vegetarian, glycerin, and I don't want to even try to read that. Are also used for medication caused. All right. I see.
But
Well, I just stopped reading it. I think that they're just saying that there's healthy versions of vaping, but we don't know, man. That's the point. Like,
Oh.
we're
I've
not
seen that you
sure.
can vape vitamins.
as an asthmatic, I beg to differ. Vaping is still
Yeah,
really bad.
There's just not enough evidence, so we don't know.
Yeah, right.
To be clear, anytime you're putting a foreign chemical body, like in your lungs, that's not air. Like,
Yeah,
and
it's not air.
Coming from my wife, that's been doing this stuff for like 12 plus years, and she's like a senior researcher, and she focuses on curing rare diseases. Like, she'll tell
That's
you,
so
anytime you're putting
badass.
something that's like she's helped cure diseases that have affected young children at a very young age. Like, she
Wow.
focuses on like enzyme replacement therapy and stuff. So like the first thing she told me, she's like, "Hey," so I was the same way. I'm like, "Nah, man, like this stuff." And she's like, "Kayla," she's like, looks at me like I'm an idiot. She's like, "Anytime you're putting a foreign substance like into your lungs," she's like, it's usually not going to be a good result. It's like unless it's supposed to be like helping you. So it's like you have to be very careful about it. And she's like, "There's not enough research for me to possibly know like what those adverse effects are." But she's like, "Anytime you're putting a foreign object in there, it's usually not going to end well." All right.
Yeah. Pretty much. I think I was talking to you guys about this a while ago. Like I had to make somebody like leave a restaurant because they were vaping, and it was like giving me asthma attacks. And they're like, "I'm not smoking, I'm vaping." It was just like, I'm still having an asthma attack. So I beg to differ.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just don't know enough. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's just.
But your wife is literally a badass, and I hope you tell her that a lot.
Yeah.
She is a badass.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're wrong.
She's the
but
hero we don't deserve.
We just don't know yet.
No, they're wrong.
You gotta have a
They're wrong.
science that can get you out in zombie apocalypse. That's my hope. Is that
Vape Nation, bro.
zombie apocalypse, I
You know, speaking of all this, I would say that one of the things I do miss about when I was smoking weed is
Crack
only the
cocaine.
smoke.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, it's only the smoke. There's something satisfying about blowing smoke out of your mouth. That's it.
It's cool. Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, there's a satisfying feeling, but I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't smoke weed, I don't vape, and I wouldn't use hookah. So I just have to let it all
Hookah's
go.
actually worse for you because your
I know.
longer sessions,
Yeah,
more smoke.
just got to get over it.
Yep.
I know nothing of these things.
It's not hard. I think quitting smoking weed was super easy.
Relax.
If you smoked weed, you had a panic attack. It's like, I don't want to have that anymore. So
Yeah.
stop doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things with marijuana.
What?
If you
Who's this
are-
person?
It's Wesley. I've been in for a while.
Oh, well,
I've
I've
get
just been
out.
quiet.
We have too much diversity.
Oh no.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, with marijuana, if you have a genetic predisposition towards psychosis, it actually can exacerbate that problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is why I stopped, because I do, and it runs in my family. So
Yeah, you just gotta know yourself, you know. Everyone's different.
Yeah, I'm like allergic to grass, so that should be considered every time I smoke weed. Like I literally am. I'm like I'm allergic to grass. Like a lot of the grass that we have around here in Irvine, I'm like allergic
like
to.
lawns.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah,
'Cause
I have
if-
skin allergies.
Does grass get in the air? Get to
Yeah.
your eye, your nose.
And if you think about it, like I'm Korean and black, right? And so there might be a lot of the African side. I'm not sure if they had to deal with lots of Irvine lawns back in the in the fields of the savannah. You know what I mean?
They
Wait, who said that? He just turned into a robot at the end. There's still a robot.
Sabisa.
Oh, say again, Tabiso. Are you also allergic to lawns?
no, so we do have to deal with Irvine lawns.
And where you're from too?
In Sahara.
Oh, in Africa.
In Zimbabwe, yeah.
In Zimbabwe, they had to deal with Irvine lawns. Yeah, I think that's true.
You know what? I'm going to South Africa after WakandaCon, so I'll let you know.
Oh yeah, please. Wait, hold on. I think
WakandaCon
I'll be back. You guys,
sounds
yeah,
amazing.
you talk about it a little bit. I'll be right back.
Yeah, they're holding a convention called WakandaCon.
What? That sounds so cool, and I'm angry that I have not heard of that and take pictures. Oh my
It's
god.
in where is it? Chicago?
Oh, that sounds
Yes,
so
sir.
cool.
So you're in Chicago.
Yeah. I won't be able to make it to it, but yeah, it could be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I'll link it, actually. I'll put it in the, I don't know if it's on where the people are at.
Not sure.
I'm slightly distracted because I keep like over my headphones. I keep hearing I think my neighbor like arguing with someone outside.
Oh,
Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
What?
Fight them.
There's like some drama going on.
Oh.
Well, what are they talking about?
Just tell them they're wrong.
Not it's bad enough that I don't want to talk about it on the street.
Oh.
What? What's going on?
That sucks. Well,
What?
Yeah.
I leave
you
for
gotta
like
leave
5
for any
minutes.
reason.
No,
Yeah.
there's some drama going on. My upstairs neighbor.
Oh, all right.
I could hear people really loudly out my window.
Hey, do you guys have suggestions for generating your own art briefs? I struggle with coming up with new ideas when I have no restrictions. I can start. So I just generally like look at the kind of things that I like, and then just kind of build off of that. So for instance, like this stuff right here, I really like kind of like a dark fantasy aesthetic. And so I'm thinking, okay, dark fantasy, and the aesthetic that I'm going to go for is just like, specifically with this group, is just a lot of like enemies that will have interesting superpower or powers and abilities. So this first one, I'm thinking like if he runs up to people and he tries to hug them, and so that way he can cut them because he's covered in spikes. And then the second guy, I'm thinking he's gonna warp in. He's gonna warp in like other arms or something. I haven't decided yet. I just knew that this guy's gonna be more of a magic user though, and so I'm trying to think of what could be cool. Like what would be a cool magic skill. And so the theme is dark fantasy mixed in with like special abilities, the interesting abilities. So that way I can design around that and try to create cool looking characters for the project that I'm going to work on probably in the next ongoing year. But when I used to do stuff for my portfolio, yeah, I would just do that. Or if you can't think of anything even at that level, just pick a project that already kind of exists and just imagine if they had another character. Like imagine like League of Legends, you had to design a character for that. Or something a little bit more specific like World of Warcraft. Try to think of a character you would design for like World of Warcraft. And just keep practicing it. Just like anything, you gotta practice. Do you guys have any insight on this?
I just
that
like.
last thing.
Oh, you
nah,
sound
we both
alright.
talked at the same time.
So I'll decide. We'll let Wesley. I haven't heard much from him. So
Yeah,
go ahead, Wesley.
I was gonna say I like doing what you suggested last.
Wrong. All right, next. Can we?
I was
Sorry.
just gonna compliment you, honestly, that I like that your stuff is kind of directed in a theme direction. I think that's cool, and I think more artists should take
Oh yeah.
from
Well,
that book.
I like rudely interrupted Wesley sarcastically, but then it turned into a real interruption. So Wesley, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, like it converted.
You know
into
why?
a,
It's
like,
because there's too much diversity.
yeah, there's too much diversity. This is
many
why it's a
cooks.
problem. See, maybe Trump was right. Maybe we were
Oh,
all wrong this whole time. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Wesley. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like I like designing games and thinking about mechanics. So whenever I run into a what should I draw type of situation, I mostly think of any games that I've been playing recently and go along, what if they added like X? And then I try to make artwork based on that.
Perfect. I think that's exactly right. Just whatever can get you moving the pencil is the way I think about it. So, or pen, or whatever your medium happens to be. Alright. Is there any stuff on Facebook, Mike? Do you happen to know? I
Yeah.
might take a couple and then I'm going to roll out. I have some business to attend to.
Yeah.
Good lunch
All
break.
right. Hey Anthony, still planning on being a lawyer?
Me? No, not
Yeah.
really.
All right.
I think if anything, if I had to do like a real career switch, I might like look into doing some political stuff, but not necessarily be a politician. I think they just move too slow. But more like along the lines of a volunteer or someone who creates some sort of platform that can expand this type of stuff. Like right now, I'm currently looking into like helping lower income high schools get access to people like me for free, and just teach them how to do stuff at no cost. I just show up, just say this is what you can do too, dude, and then teach them. So I think that's really kind of the real crux of the situation that we have currently in the industry. Like you see like a very like low turnout rate on all types of groups, and I think a lot of it has to do with like if you look at these schools, they have like no access. They have no opportunity. It's just not easy for them to kind of see that there's a path. Like to give you a good example, like I didn't even know concept art was a real job, right? Until I went to AI, right? And I came from like a low income, like really terrible environment. And so like I understand why I didn't know. Like I have that foresight, or I'm sorry, that hindsight. I can look back and I can see. In fact, a lot of my friends are still in this position. They don't even know that this type of stuff exists, right? Most people don't. But you know, one of the things that I can say is that college has value in. It does actually help you kind of see what things may exist outside of your bubble, right? And the types of things that colleges don't do well sometimes is that they don't necessarily help funnel people in the right direction, right? And I find that maybe one good solution would be to expand myself, and that way, like I was thinking about like stuff like it would be considered like, just to give you kind of some perspective, it would be something considered like Robotpencil outreach, to give you an idea of like how to perceive this. So if you think of Robotpencil, like the brand that I built, it's like this educational platform. So a Robotpencil outreach would be the same thing, but just to reach people that have no access. I have tons of friends. I have tons of great like industry leading individuals who I know for a fact that if I asked them to do these types of things for no cost, that they would totally do it, right? I just know that a lot of times what ends up stopping this from happening is that nobody gets the ball rolling. That's usually the problem. It's not necessarily that people don't want to, is that there's no infrastructure. So I realized maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just start building infrastructure. I already talked to some lady from a high school near where I live in Santa Ana, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is perfect," right? And so we're gonna sort it out, and I'm gonna start teaching some of these kids how to
That would be
draw
super cool.
and making video games. Yeah, I reached out to my buddy from Gumroad, the guy that made Gumroad, and I talked to him about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, man, like if you need some help, let me know. What's up?" And so, because he's in the same boat, he actually feels very similarly. Like he feels like there's more that he can do to help. That's what he's been doing lately. He's been looking at ways to help local communities get some perspective on things, which is really cool. It's really smart. And I feel that it's time for me to not just be a keyboard warrior, right? It's fun. It's definitely fun. But to actually have merit to the kinds of things that I actually believe in, right? Instead of just considering like what it could be. I was like, well, I can just make it. I can just make this thing that I think should happen, right? I believe that there should be free education. Maybe I can just make free education, you know, and just make it free with at least starting with my community, you know, and not wait for the American people to tax and fund it. No, we can just. I'm sure I can get volunteers. Just got to build that infrastructure, right? And I'm positive that it can get some movement. It's just a lot of times people can't spend and devote a lot of their time and attention to these types of things because, they have their own lives. They have to take care of their own families and stuff like that. But I'm in a very good position where I can afford this extra time to help. So I'm going to.
You're more like a keyboard cleric.
I was just going to say that. Oh my god.
That's probably true.
Nah,
You don't want to be that nerdy.
I'll say it. I'm used to interruption. All right, let's take another question real quick before you head out.
Yeah, okay, this will be the last one, and then
right.
We're going to bounce out of here.
Hi, do you like to paint in black and white more than using color?
I do.
And what is your favorite video game ever based on the story or design?
My favorite video game ever would probably be Portal 2. Yeah.
Really?
And both in design and story. I think it's hilarious and really fun. And then the gameplay, they do a really good job of like making it feel like you're like you're an idiot, and then when you solve the puzzle, you feel like you're a complete genius. And like, I know that they've designed it that way, and that's what makes me even enjoy it more. Like knowing that they crafted it in such a way that I almost know that they anticipated this is how I would feel, right? And that being a fact that I am pretty certain is true makes me even enjoy the game more. Following after that would probably be the Uncharted series, and then right after that would be Chrono Trigger. I know there's like so basically no game after Chrono Trigger really satisfied my thirst.
No
God of War.
Chrono Trigger right now.
God of War would be up there, yeah. And even though I worked on the God of War franchise, you would think it'd be really high up there. I think that I realized that I prefer making like action games, even though I don't necessarily play them like primarily. You know, I love action games, but not nearly as much as I like making them. And then I like puzzle games, but I do not like making them. Right? And so that's a really interesting thing that I found out about myself. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna roll out. Thanks again. I'm gonna try to stream. If I can stream tomorrow, I'll let you guys know. But I'm gonna try to do at least every day, even if it's only for half an hour. That's my goal. I'll see if I can do it. But with that being said, peace out, friends. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for all the great comments and questions. Everyone kept it pretty. Wait. When will you be releasing your MMORPG? Yeah, right. I'm never gonna make an MMORPG, like at least not by myself. But with that being said, guys, peace out. Thanks for everyone that hung out with me. You guys can sign off too if you'd like. Just say your name and say bye. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a professional signing off. That works.
Bye.
Just say bye. All right. Bye, everybody.